Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
In Africa as a continent and indeed the globe. Fellow Kenyans, a few days ago, the World Health Organization warned that despite 1 million within 3 to 6 months, while this is a projection, it might as well be the reality in the coming days. Consider that this past week alone, we have seen significant changes of infections in our own neighborhood, where the COVID-19 cases in Somalia have multiplied 9-fold in a single week, from 26 cases on April 13th to 237 by yesterday. In our neighboring Tanzania, the numbers have swollen 7-fold, from 32 cases to 254 within the same period. These developments concern us. They might translate into frightening reality for the Horn of Africa. While what we are learning is that this virus transmits silently. Initially, it may move at a slow pace, but as we have also seen in countries such as Spain and Italy, it takes on such frantic speed that even the most developed of nations cannot catch up with it. Between March 18th and 25th, a span of 1 week, the cases in Spain grew 5-fold, from 11,741 to 50,019. Given these realities, the general sentiment of comfort we are witnessing is severely misplaced. When we as a nation are complacent with a few officials exploiting this pandemic for personal gain, or conversely, the idea that we can break curfews and not suffer any ramifications, then we know that we are heading in the wrong direction. And indeed, there is nothing to celebrate when runaway impunity takes place at the risk of all of us. As a government, our planning and actions are informed by global trends and our own analysis. A slight lapse in behavior, like the ones we have witnessed in the last few days, could roll back the gains we have made so far, and by implication, the destiny of our nation. The days when everything was left to the government are long gone. This disease is now calling for our total and divided commitment and unity. While I appreciate and acknowledge the cooperation by many, many Kenyans, I must say that there are a few Kenyans who deliberately rebuke the efforts that we have put in place to contain the spread of the virus. Our daily update briefings have served to rally Kenyans to their individual responsibilities, while at the same time painting the picture of our situation. And this is not just in Kenya. It is a global practice today. It is therefore unfortunate that some naysayers have dismissed our daily briefings as mere daily ledgers. Elsewhere, the disease has thrived on similar cloud of silence and ignorance, and which we are being pushed to adopt. We refuse to sit back, and we will continue to inform Kenyans of our situation and measures they need to continuously take in order to flatten our curve. Regarding mass testing, the exercise is ongoing, targeting high-risk areas, which include healthcare workers. We currently have 25,000 testing kits which have been deployed for this activity. Globally, every country is working on testing targets. All have fallen short of these targets because of global disruption of supplies. Our plan is to conduct 250,000 tests by the end of June. However, this 250,000 will not match our population. Hence, we are collaborating with our development partners to ramp up our surveillance testing mechanisms. The plan entails community-based surveillance, hospital-based surveillance, and population-based surveillance. For the community-based surveillance, we are working at about 100,000 households. For the hospital-based surveillance, we have mapped out 20 hospitals in 16 regions. All this is being done under the overarching 5-year public health security framework that we have worked out. Our coronavirus response is therefore nested on this policy. The challenge we have over and above corona is to keep an eye on the other healthcare challenges. I therefore want to call on all counties to ensure continuity of health services without losing sight of the corona epidemic. We should therefore be prepared in the coming days to share our county health service delivery scorecards. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, in times such as this, we have to be alive to the effect that COVID-19 management measures, what these measures have had on our people. We are particularly concerned about mental health. Towards this end, we have established a psychiatric and psychological care help framework over this period. If you feel distressed and needing counseling or psychological care, please call 1199 and you will be attended to. For any inquiries on continuity of psychological care or psychiatric emergencies or crisis, please call our hotline, which will be distributed to the media. Today, we have looked at the unfolding situation in Mandera County. So far, the county has 8 cases, the latest being 2 cases of urban refugees. Now, this is a dangerous situation because, as you are well aware, Mandela has a lot of is a corner county with neighbors on 2 sides, and is also affected by travel from other parts of the country. Therefore, as part of the containment measures, the government has today directed restriction of movement into and out of Mandera County. The county, therefore, becomes the 5th county where movement has been restricted. Today, having tested 707 samples, we have 7 persons who have tested positive to the disease. Those being Kenyans as a whole. We don't have any foreigners in those figures. And I would like to state, kama vile nilisema, hii ugonjwa si ugonjwa ya serikali, hii ni ugonjwa wa kila mtu. Na kama mjuavyo, kuna wale ambao hawaogopi, na yule ambao haogopi atakuja kuogopa, kwa sababu hii ugonjwa haina tajiri, haishagui tajiri, haishagui kijana, haishagui yoyote. Kila mtu anaweza kushikwa na hii ugonjwa. Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema wale ambao wanasaidia sisi sana ni wale ambao wanafuata sheria ile tumetoa, mipango ile tumetoa. Hao ndio wanasaidia sisi kama Wakenya. Lakini mjue ya kwamba wale ambao hawafuati, wale ambao mnaona wakiruka wakitoka kwa quarantine facilities, hao watu ni kusema wanataka kutoka huko waingie vijijini wapeleke ugonjwa huko vijijini. Ukiona mtu akiruka ni vile mnajua wale wengine walifanya. Mnajua kuna watu walienda mazishi upande wa Malindi kule Kilifi, ugonjwa ukaanza. Wengine wakaenda mikutano, ugonjwa ukaanza. Hapa Isili tulikuwa na imam, alikuwa hajui yeye ni mgonjwa, akaja akafariki. Wale ambao walikuwa na yeye karibu wamepata hii ugonjwa. Kawangware iko watu wengi, walianza na mtu moja, wakaenda 3, wakaenda wengine 2, na tunaendelea kufanya testing huko tuone ni wangapi pengine. Ukiangalia kule Mombasa upande wa KPA vile hii ugonjwa inaendelea kuchika watu. Kwa hivyo jameni, mimi ningewasihi wa Kenya tusije tukasikiliza wale ambao ni lazima waseme mambo mambaya, mambo maovu kwa wale ambao wanafanya hii kazi, kwa mimi mwenyewe, kwa wale wengine. Msije mkasikiza hao watu. Mimi ningewasihi tuendelee kusikia vile serikali inasema, kwa sababu hii kazi ya kupigana na hii virusi si kazi yetu kama serikali. Hii ni kazi ya kila Mkenya. Na wewe ukijisikia, ukiona kama sio wewe, ukiona kama hii si kazi yako, basi wewe umeanza kukosea. Wakati unasikia wewe hiyo sio kazi yako, umeanza kukosea, kwa sababu hii ni kazi yako. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu hii ni ugonjwa wetu. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu hii ugonjwa inaweza shika wewe, na ikishika wewe, basi wewe utaleta hiyo ugonjwa kwangu na kwa yule mwingine. Asanteni sana.
Mimi naitwa Eliud Bio. Mimi ndio mwenyekiti wa Kamukunji Jua Kali Association. Nataka kusema kwamba hii ugonjwa wa coronavirus ni ugonjwa ambao uko na unashika kila mtu ambaye anaweza kuwa in contact na mtu mwingine ambaye ako nao, ama amegusa kitu ambacho kimeguswa na mtu ambaye ako nayo.
Let us wash our hands. Let us keep the social distance given, at least 1 meter away from one another. Let us avoid all gatherings, unnecessary gatherings. People believe that sanitizer is the main thing to fight the scourge. Let us just use the soap we have at home, even the bar soaps. So long as we maintain the cleanliness that is required, we are going to fight this.
Ili tubambane na hii ugonjwa ni lazima unawe. Hiyo ndio sababu kama sekta tumeweka hizi mtungi kila mahali ya kunawisa mkono. Na tena tunasema ya kwamba ukiwa unafanya kazi hapa, ama wewe ni customer, ama wewe ni mpita njia, ukikuja lazima unawe. Hiyo ndio kusaidia na ndio kukinga hii ugonjwa.
Hii mitungi ya kunawia mikono, mebasi wetu walichukua jukumu, wanatengeneza hizi mitungi na wanauza kwa bei nafuu, kwa sababu wanapotengeneza hii mitungi sio biashara tu ama pesa tunatafuta. Tunatafuta kwamba hii mitungi iweze kufikia kila mtu, ndio watu waweze kunawa mikono na waweze kujikinga na hii ugonjwa. Si serikali ambayo inaweza kutusaidia peke yake, ni sisi wenyewe pia tusaidiane kwa kufuatilia ile mambo ambayo tunaambiwa na serikali.
For more information, please dial 719 or *719#. You'll get help immediately from the relevant authorities, particularly from the Ministry of Health.
Pamoja tukomeze corona.
My name is Sophie Mwanyumba from the Ministry of Health and working under National Public Health Labs. Today we are visiting the quarantine sites within Nairobi, and the teams are being dispatched out to go and visit the sites. We have the forms which we are going to use to capture the information of the visitors who came from in the country. And we also have the sample collection apparatus, which we have the oropharyngeal swabs and the nasal swabs. And each person is supposed to be taken the 2 samples, the nasal swab and the oropharyngeal swab. We have our PPEs to protect ourselves. We have the safety gears where we are having this, and the disinfection for disinfecting the apparatus which we are going to use. The waste, we have the biohazard bags where we are going to put all the waste which is generated within the site where we are collecting the specimen. We have the biohazard bags to safeguard the environment. And with us we have the transport media, because we have to make sure that the samples which we are going to carry, they are if the virus is there, they are viable. So we have the transport media which we are carrying with us, and we are maintaining the cold chain, because we have the cool box which is equipped with the ice packs to maintain the cold chain of the virus of the samples as we come back. To my fellow Kenyans, I have a word for you today. Kindly stay at home. I am at work to safeguard the environment and to safeguard ourselves. The corona is real. It is real with us. So please let us stay at home as the health workers continue working and supporting the government or the guidelines which they have been put on place.
Mi naitwa Ivy Brenda Cheretich na niko 26 years old. So I was the first patient to be confirmed with COVID-19, which is hiyo ndio disease ni iko caused by coronavirus. So I came out to the Ministry of Health, and I let them know that I was concerned because I had shown symptoms of COVID-19. Na hakuna mtu alini pressure like go forward. Ni mimi tu niliamua as a responsible Kenyan nifanye nione as in juni kazi yangu as a responsible Kenyan kukuja mbele na kuambia government, I think this is what is happening and you might have to test me. Na niko happy because waliamua kunitake seriously, wakanitest, and that's when wakapata niko positive. So after wakanipata niko positive, walinipea treatment, walini support sana, and niko very thankful to all of them for what they did. Kitu nataka kwa show ni kuwa hii kitu ni manageable na ni treatable. If you think you have it, don't be afraid. Usiogope ati watu watasema nini or that ati watu watani stigmatize. Hiyo ni kitu tu, it's something that ni normal. It happens to anyone and unaweza contract. It doesn't matter, unaweza kwa young, you can contract it. You can also be a child and you can be an older person.
In Africa as a continent and indeed the globe. Fellow Kenyans, a few days ago, the World Health Organization warned that despite a million within 3 to 6 months, while this is a projection, it might as well be the reality in the coming days. Consider that this past week alone, we have seen significant changes of infections in our own neighborhood, where the COVID-19 cases in Somalia have multiplied 9-fold in a single week, from 26 cases on April 13th to 237 by yesterday. In our neighboring Tanzania, the numbers have swollen 7-fold, from 32 cases to 254 within the same period. These developments concern us. They might translate into frightening reality for the Horn of Africa. While what we are learning is that this virus transmits silently. Initially, it may move at a slow pace, but as we have also seen in countries such as Spain and Italy, it takes on such frantic speed that even the most developed of nations cannot catch up with it. Between March 18th and 25th, a span of 1 week, the cases in Spain grew 5-fold, from 11,741 to 50,019. Given these realities, the general sentiment of comfort we are witnessing is severely misplaced. When we as a nation are complacent with a few officials exploiting this pandemic for personal gain, or conversely, the idea that we can break curfews and not suffer any ramifications, then we know that we are heading in the wrong direction. And indeed, there is nothing to celebrate when runaway impunity takes place at the risk of all of us. As a government, our planning and actions are informed by global trends and our own analysis. A slight lapse in behavior, like the ones we have witnessed in the last few days, could roll back the gains we have made so far. And
good morning to you and welcome back, and we apologize for the heat. You had started another link earlier and then you experienced some technical problems, but it has been sorted, and so now we are back. So thank you so much for still being with us there. That was the CS for Health, Mr. Mutahi Kagwe, during his daily briefings to the country there. And I think if you're watching there, he mentioned that Tanzania had not really taken he did not act very swiftly, and now we see the numbers in Tanzania has gone up, and he was just trying to encourage Kenyans and plead with Kenyans essentially to just continue observing the measures that the government has put in place to ensure everybody is safe. When you take care of yourself, you take care of the other person, and when the other person takes care of themselves and observes these measures, they take care of you, because now the COVID-19 will not be able to spread, because you understand the circumstances that allow it to spread further from one person to the other. Thank you so much. Keep writing to us. So now, before we experience that technical issue, I wanted us to just go through quickly, the Kenyan newspapers this morning, and then that would have formed the basis of our conversation today, even as we look at the latest, of course, press conference and information from the government of Kenya in regards to how the latest figures in Kenya, and also what is the government doing so far, and what has the government done so far, and of course the case of those young men who disappeared from the mandatory quarantine center and were captured yesterday, not captured, but arrested by the police yesterday along Thika Road. Can you imagine? The ones who climbed the perimeter wall from the Kenya Medical College in Nairobi, they were arrested somewhere else very far off, so you don't know in case one of them had that COVID-19, because they were put under mandatory quarantine, then how many people have been exposed to the COVID-19. So, and they were so dead drunk yesterday, even as the police sought to take them back to the mandatory quarantine to ensure that they're safe. And everybody out there, perhaps now the government might have to start looking at the people who might have come into contact with this too. And so many people had disappeared from these centers, and we saw it through the social media and the videos that have been making rounds online. And President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday, while he was speaking to the country by the medium of all radio stations in the country, he said, the government and the police will be seeking to get these people back. And we see now that has started to happen. So thank you so much. I'll be coming back on top of the hour about 12:30 there. We shall come back with Diaspora Dispatches. But right now, in the Kenyan newspaper this morning, Treasury has spent, that is the Star newspaper, if our production can just bring that on, our Treasury has spent about 40 billion Kenya shillings on COVID-19, says Yatani. And he continues to say that Treasury has spent about 40 billion Kenya shillings in its response to the coronavirus outbreak since the first patient was reported on March 12th. Now, this means that over the past 40 days, the government has been spending on an average of 1 billion a day. Of this, 33.4 billion has gone to operations, and 6.9 billion Kenya shillings to development and other capital investment to support the COVID-19 fight. So I think that is very important, because I've seen a lot of people come out there and try to ask, what has the government done? All this money, what is happening? And so I think I'll just go there and read this information, and perhaps this will help shed very important light there for anybody who is questioning on how the government has used this money. So the CS for Treasury, Mr. Yatani, yesterday came out to clear the air. So I'll just read that. And it says that the Treasury has disbursed 3.9 billion towards the related health response to contain the virus spread. Cabinet Secretary Uhuru Yatani told MPs that the 1 billion for hiring health workers has also been provided. Treasury also disbursed 200 million Kenya shillings to the Interior Ministry to tighten security operations to enforce curfew and containment directives. Another 200 million Kenya shillings has been provided for the Prisons Department to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus in jails. And I think this is very important, owing to the number of people that we have in those jails here in Kenya, not just in Kenya here. This has proved to be a headache to almost every country in the world, because now we've seen even some countries going ahead and discongesting the jails and releasing offenders, petty offenders, basically, who perhaps was having, less time, or petty offenders who have been released so that they can decongest the jails there. So here, Mr. Yatani says the government has given prisons 200 million Kenya shillings to ensure that they help to mitigate, because we know that the prison, owing to the number of people that are there, could indeed be a very fertile ground to the spread of the COVID-19. And also residents of arid and semi-arid areas received 400 million Kenya shillings in relief food and non-food commodities for insecure communities. And also Treasury also said it has provided 10 billion Kenya shillings in tax refund, and another 10 billion Kenya shillings for the cash transfers for the elderly and vulnerable persons in the national And the National Intelligence Services has also been given 1.5 billion Kenya shillings to boost their operations to help in contact and tracing and case tracing, which has been very important in terms of the people who have come into contact with the people who have been tested there. Now, Yatani further reveals that the 13 billion Kenya shillings for the SME support and payment of pending bills has been dispersed, but the pandemic has presented expenses which were unforeseen. Very true. And during the budget making process, eating up additional 385 billion Kenya shillings, and these include a request for recurrent amounts of about 159.9 billion Kenya shillings, and also about 233 billion shillings for development, including 30 billion shillings for donor-funded projects. So we see, well, the government was trying. I think we were supposed to be reading our budget in the next few months, and this is something that the government had not foreseen. So the government had to come in and work in very fast. So those of you who have been wondering, what has this 40 billion Kenya shillings been spent on? I was seeing some Kenyans trying to query about that on social media, but now there it is. Yatani has given us a breakdown on how this monies has been used there. So a very important information there. So close to 20 persons are killed as rain pounds nation. That is also another unfortunate incident that has happened. I'm looking at the front pages of the Star newspaper. At least 15 people may have been killed by floods since the rain intensified last week. Some 12 people died in a mudslide at the border of West Pokot and Elgeyo-Marakwet counties on Saturday night. And our prayers and sympathies go to these families that are really not only now fighting the spread of the coronavirus, but also now has to live with the reality of not having homes, losing loved ones. So it's very sad there, but hey, the rains are here, and so we've seen even a lot of, especially from the Kisumu area and indeed other areas in the country, the floods are really wreaking havoc there. So also an information that perhaps we did not highlight here yesterday. I know President Uhuru Kenyatta, while he was speaking to the nation yesterday in the morning, he said that the schools the national examinations, that is the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, that is the final exams in primary school, and also the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, KCSE, he said they will not be postponed because the government had not found the need to want to postpone these national examinations. But on top of that, also President Kenyatta hints at partial school reopening. So let me just see that on page 2. And President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday hinted at a partial reopening of schools and dismissed speculations that KCPE and KCSE exams could be cancelled. Speaking during a live radio interview from State House, Nairobi, the president said the Education Ministry will look at measures to enable candidates to sit for the exams. Since schools were closed on March 15th, the future of the candidates had been a subject of debate, with divergent opinions causing anxiety. But in the absence of more specific national guidance, education expert Janet Muthoni says there is a need to work out the intricacies of what the school day will look like when they reopen. So anyway, while President Uhuru Kenyatta there was speaking, he said that so now I think they'll find a way to ensure that perhaps the candidates can go back to school, and maybe because there will be few, they can observe the social distancing and all of that, and maybe they'll still have the mask while they're in class. So that is very important there. And so because the days are nearing there, so for the parents who are out there. And also on the front pages of the Star, like I've been saying, the Star newspaper has been going out of its way and really running its own campaign in lines with COVID-19. So I think they've been doing a very good job, and we've also been doing a very good job here. And so other newspapers in the country, I cannot see here much, but I think the Star has been very deliberate on how it has been covering the COVID-19 in this country. And so every day they run their own campaign and awareness. So today, coronavirus, pregnant women to take extra precaution. So pregnant women have a higher risk of severe illness when infected with viruses from the same family as COVID-19 and other viral respiratory infections such as influenza. So they're saying breastfeeding if you have COVID-19. So in case you're wondering, if you have COVID-19 and you are nursing, so You're advised to wear a mask and wash your hands before each feeding. Wash your hands before touching any pump or bottle pads, and also express milk, breast milk, to establish and maintain milk supply. So there you go. If you're a nursing mother out there and perhaps you have contracted this COVID-19, for you to keep yourself safe and also your young ones safe. Those are just some of the measures that if you took care, your child could be safe. And in case you're watching and you've been affected out there, we wish you all the best and you get better soon. And also on the front pages of the Standard newspaper this morning, it is back to school for KCPE and KCSE exams, and President announces candidates will be recalled to class to prepare for national test, but teachers want directive extended to Form 3 students and Standard 7 students and pupils. And I'm sure that is something that they can work on that, because they'll have enough classrooms. If the whole school is not coming, they'll have enough classrooms that may enable social distancing. So I'm hoping that they will be working on the modalities, and this should be done very soon. I'm one of those parents, so this directive is very important and really touches on me on a very selfish level. But hey, thank you so much. So how police are killing COVID fight. So cases of brutal crackdown on curfew violators and pocketing bribes to let bus loads of people across county boundaries, and among the crimes by law enforcers that are undermining efforts to curb the spread of the deadly virus. And I've been, walking around the Nairobi and going to the CBD and just going about my life. Of course, very, very taking the precautions, every precaution available to ensure that I am safe. And I've seen a good number of police officers really good, doing a very good job in this time, but as always, there are usually just a few apples there that are just bad, and so they're taking advantage of these measures that have been put in place, the curfew and all of that, to collect bribe. And in this regard, now they're ensuring that even the spread of the COVID-19 will be made possible. They're undermining their efforts to curb the spread of the deadly virus. So this is just a few of the rotten apples in the police service. But as I said, they have been walking around and observing how police have been handling this matter. And I must really commend a lot of our law enforcers out there. They've been doing a very great job, but a few of them there are just messing up the whole thing for everybody. Now everybody will think, when you see a police, you think, okay, these are that is just one of them. No, there actually are some police officers there who are doing a great job in ensuring that you're safe, in ensuring that you observe law and order, and encouraging the Kenyans out there to observe these measures that have been put in place by the government to ensure that you're safe. Because I'm still amazed that people are still walking around the streets without masks on their faces. Can you imagine? With everything else that is happening in the world, you still need a police officer to come and force you to wear a mask. Kenyans are just a very special breed. And so, yes, and still on the front pages, a song called Warpath after Ruto meeting. I think Dr. Matsanga talked about this earlier in the early morning show, so I will not even get into it, but also MPs clear Uhuru's 30 billion Kenya shillings budget to fight pandemics. Let me just go through that. I don't know if it's what I read earlier on the Star newspaper there. And most of the money will be used to mitigate against the impact of the coronavirus on the economy and to cushion individuals and organizations from job losses, closures and bankruptcies due to lost revenues. It appears it's what I read earlier there. So NIS gets billions to spy on patients. Medics warn virus war is militarized. But medics are warning that the virus war has been militarized. But these medics, have they seen how Kenyans are acting? Have they seen how some few individuals are not even adhering to this war? So the government is forced to use some force that is not supposed to being used, because look at those people who climbed the perimeter wall and disappeared from the quarantine center, and others who just been walking around even after the government gave a directive, everybody, before you leave your house, get a mask, put on your face and cover yourself so that you're safe. But we still see people who don't even adhere to these measures. What do you expect? What do you expect? I don't know. The medics, they're looking at it from a very different point of view. I think because of the nature of their job, but also, have you seen how a few of us really cannot even adhere to these very simple rules? So it forces the police and it forces the government to use every means possible, because as I keep saying here, the number one responsibility of a government is to ensure that the people that it's leading is safe. And so if these people, cannot like in this situation, the government, it is not up to the government. It is up to all of us to work with the government. And we have said it here time and time again. This is the time. This is the one time you're required. Just the one time, If you like protesting, if you like all this, if you don't agree with your government, if you don't agree with a lot of things that it says, but this is not the time. This is the only one time that you're required, just one time that you're required to cooperate with the government. Can you be at home before 7 p.m.? Is that too difficult? Can you be at home by 7 p.m. and leave your house after 5 a.m. and you will be safe? Can you walk around with a mask on your face? Can you sanitize? Can you wash your hands before you enter a supermarket? Sanitize before you touch something? Sanitize. Can you just do that? And we will not see all this, all this force now, or the militarization that the medics are now terming it. For police are forced. Have you not watched those? I've seen some news items on our local television station in some estates like Pipeline there in Embakasi, where residents, after the police have made their rounds and seeing that everybody is inside after the curfew hours, then at around 9 or 10, they are back to normal. They open shops and the residents there go to shop at night. And, so that's just very bad mentality, because they assume that this thing is just meant for it's not meant for them. Coronavirus cannot have them. And from the new figures, the latest information that we're getting is now this, the infections are all over, the estates here in Nairobi, so you cannot take chances. And so if the police gets you out at 10, 11, you've already opened your shop and people are coming to buy at that time, even those people, what do you expect the authorities to do when you're supposed to be in your house by 7, when you're supposed to have closed your shop by 7? You see, even us, I think you're failing on our part. So as much as there has been some excess, especially in the beginning, I've not heard any new cases being reported, but in the first few days, 2 or 3 days when this curfew started, we saw a bit of some force that was excessive. But I think even the president came out and apologized, especially for the death that we saw in was it Mathare or Huruma, for the 13-year-old boy who was shot from the balcony, and I think other people who were transporting or whatever. But that was sorted, and then after that we've seen some order come. So I've not seen a lot of brutality that was that was experienced the first 2 or 3 days. And so now it appears that has gone. But Kenyans, it's like, unless the only language they understand, not all of us, a few of us, because me, I'll be in my house very early. I don't want to get in the wrong side of the law, all right? But a few of us, it's like we like testing and seeing, let me just do it and let me see what will happen. So can we just play our part, stay inside and keep safe for your own sake? And it's understandable. These measures really came and changed our lives, and now our normal, it's not normal anymore. So we cannot treat this disease as normal. As the CS for Health, Mr. Mutahi Kagwe, keeps saying, if you continue treating this disease as if it's normal, and we continue living our lives as if it's normal, then this disease will treat us very abnormally, the same way we see now, the infections rising up across the world. So we don't want to get to those levels. So we have a part to play in order to ensure that we minimize the spread of the COVID-19. It is a plea from the government. It is a plea from all of us. We want to come back to normal. We want our lives to resume. I want to go to be in the CBD at doing my shopping in the night and not worry. But we cannot do that. We cannot do that right now. So right now, it is a bit of an inconvenience, but it is for a greater cause, because if we can able to curb the spread of the virus, and then the people who are in quarantine right now, they're treated and they get better, And then, like we see now, I think in Uganda, the numbers have really reduced. And even the people who have been released from the hospital, almost, I think very few of them are remaining there in the quarantine centers. So because the people are not listening. So President Museveni was forced to use a lot of force. And that is what I think the government of Kenya has been trying to avoid. The curfew, the containment in terms of the travels in and out of Nairobi and 3 other counties, and now we see another county was added into that. So if we can just play our part, and just sit in the house, and if you don't have to be outside, and if you have to go to work, because people have to go to work. I'm working, I'm not in the house, but when I come here, I ensure that I am safe. I ensure that I have my mask on, and I ensure that I'm always walking with a sanitizer, just in case I touch something or anything. So let's just play our part, and then after this COVID-19 is over, we can go back to our politics, we can go back to living life as normal, we can go back and now query any other thing that we're having a problem with. But I think right now is the only moment. If you can cooperate with what the government is saying, it will be best for all of us. And I see that story there, so I'll just leave that over there. So curfew rules will apply during holy month of Ramadan, says Uhuru. So also, this we talked about yesterday, but let me just highlight that. So President Uhuru Kenyatta has declared that curfew rules will not be relaxed during the holy month of Ramadan. And this comes after Deputy President William Ruto met a delegation of Muslim leaders at his current residence in Nairobi. We told Christians during Easter that you cannot mark this holiday. We respect all religions, but we have said that let us celebrate and mark these religious days in our homes, on radio and on television, the president urged during an interview with the local radio station. That was yesterday. And he said, I ask our Muslim brothers and sisters to mark the holy month of Ramadan like they have not done before, because these are extraordinary times. Uhuru said that the government was yet to make a decision on whether or not to extend the 30-day curfew. So that is it. So they have to look at what is really happening and then consider the infections and what is on the ground before this curfew can be lifted, because as we know, Muslims are approaching the holy month of Ramadan, and so that will be affected. But as I said there, these are inconveniences that nobody had foreseen, and so we're just trying to navigate as we go through, try to live our lives as normal as possible until the COVID-19 has been brought into control. And the testing, I think, has started, and so we have to bear, I think, with the situation. We have to bear with the government. We have to bear with what it is, because it is what it is, and there's little that can be done about that. So we urge our Muslims brothers and sisters to just bear with us, and hopefully this will be over before the holy month of Ramadan is over, and then we can go and celebrate, and we can all go back to our normal lives. There, I see Wako Watson, you're wondering about Paul Biya. Well, I have something about Paul Biya, but I shall come back at around 12, maybe 20 minutes past 12 there, with African Diaspora Dispatches, and we shall talk about that. So right now, I was just looking at the local news and see what else is in store. So more cash in your pocket this month. More good news, and that is the Daily Nation newspaper this morning. So more good news. I think a lot of Kenyans would appreciate this very good news, because a lot of people are facing some tough times that has been brought up by this COVID-19. So this headline, I'm sure, perhaps a few Kenyans are smiling right now. So they say more good news: the cost of bread, milk, medical and agricultural pest control products to remain the same after MPs yesterday rejected National Treasury proposals that would have introduced a tax on the items, arguing that doing so would hurt ordinary Kenyans. And I think Kenyans would appreciate that, because right now it's not the time I want to go to a supermarket and find that my very valued commodity, that is milk, the price has gone up. This is not the time. So the story is on page 4 of the the Daily Nation. Hear me say page 4 of the coronavirus. Page 4 of the Daily Nation. This coronavirus really is turning our lives upside down. And so mystery politicians, dream city demolished. Also, just on the sidebar there of the Daily Nation, and the controversial 3,000-acre tract in Ruai, grabbed from the government 3 decades ago, was said to be owned by a politician so powerful that a police station was set up on it to protect his dream of 15 billion Kenya shillings fairy tale city, but his fortunes seems to be changing. Yesterday, when bulldozers descended on the site to recover the land that had been originally earmarked for a sewage plant, and the mystery politician was nowhere to be seen. It's a very interesting story there. The story is on back page of yes, this is the story on the back page of the Daily Nation. So you can grab yourself a copy or go look for it online and just get to know what that story is about. Edwin Babayao. What, you know who this politician is? You've really laughed there so loud, but I will not get there. So treating COVID-19 costs an arm and a leg. Yes. So for those who are wondering what these monies have been doing, so apparently, that is it. Treating COVID-19 is very expensive. I think that story is on page 9 of the Daily Nation newspaper, and they're saying hospitals draining millions from Kenyans in COVID-19. You are better off testing and treating coronavirus symptoms at a public hospital, as private ones are out of reach for a vast majority of Kenyans. So you're better off just going and getting, public treatment if you have. You have symptoms of the COVID-19. I think there are centers that have been set aside, and just go there. From this story, it appears if you went to a private hospital, that will cost you an arm and a leg, as in very, very expensive, and majority of Kenyans cannot afford. So you're better off. So what a patient pays for accommodation at a private hospital in just 24 hours, about 47,000 in average. But if you're going to a public hospital, no, the cost of a set of personal protective equipment to be used by health workers is 8,680. So per person per day. Because I was seeing this news item, and even when the doctors are making rounds to go see these patients, they have to remove that protective gear every time before they go seeing another patient. So it's very expensive, actually. So if you go to a private hospital, it's very expensive. So if you feel that you have these symptoms, or you want to seek this medical attention, and you cannot afford these very high prices right now, just find yourself in a public health care, and maybe there you can get the help. The bottom line, you just want to get better, and it might not be as comfortable as the private hospital, but you're not going there for comfort, as long as and then you get better, and then you go back to your house for comfort, but as long as you have gotten well. So thank you so much. What else? There's something here. So your net salary will rise this month as Uhuru's tax measures take force. Remember the measures that President Uhuru Kenyatta had, announced a few on the 25th of March last month. And let me just read a few of them, and then we can see now how they're coming into effect there. So the National Treasury shall cause immediate reduction of the VAT from 16% to 14%, effective the 1st of April 2020, and 100% tax relief for persons earning gross monthly income of up to 24,000 Kenya shillings, reduction of income tax rate, pay as you earn, from 30% to 25%, reduction of resident income tax, that is a corporation tax, from 30% to 25%, and also reduction of the turnover tax rate from the current 3% to 1% from all micro, small and medium enterprises, and also that the Kenya Revenue Authority shall expedite the payment of all verified VAT refund claims amounting to 10 billion Kenya shillings within 3 weeks, or in the alternative, allow for offsetting or withholding VAT in order to improve cash flows from business. I remember when we started the show, I told you there when Yatani was explaining how all the government have used the 20 billion Kenya shillings. The tax return was one of them. The VAT refund claims. He said there's some amount that was